Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro, and we are at the start of our journey asking the most important question first, which is what is the DP-900? So the Azure Data Fundamentals Certification is for those seeking a data-related role, such as data analyst, data engineer, or data scientist, and the certification will demonstrate a person can define and understand core data concepts, Hadoop workloads, Apache Spark workloads, MS SQL databases, NoSQL databases, data lakes, data warehouses, ELTs, and big data analytics, and more. This certification is generally referred to by its course code, the DP-900, and it's the natural path for the Azure Data Engineer or the Azure Data Analyst certifications. This is an easy course to pass and great for those new to cloud or data-related technology. So let's look at our big old roadmap here. And what I'm going to do is pull out my laser pointer so you can see where I am, and we'll get some lines in here because I want to show you some of the paths you can take with the certification. So we're over here with the DP-900, and this is at the fundamentals level, right? And so a lot of times what people will do is they will have the AZ-900, they'll take that first if they're 100% new to cloud. So I see a lot of people, they start here, and if you've never used Azure before, it's a great starting point. And then they'll move on to the DP-900, or sometimes what they'll do is they'll move on to the AI-900 and then on to the DP-900, or they'll take the DP-900 and then the AI fundamentals. But the reason you want to take this data fundamentals certification is primarily because you're very likely want to take the data engineer certification or the data analyst certification, which is at the associate track. So this one, it's basically the DP-900, but actually knowing how to implement everything. And then the data analyst is really focused on Power BI. So just knowing how to use Power BI to its maximum extent, okay? Now, a lot of people that are going for the data scientist or AI engineer track will take the DP-900 because you do need foundational knowledge about data to understand these roles. And so, it's just if you are going for the data scientist, you probably want to add the DP-900 to your track. But if you've taken the AZ-900 and the AZ-104, you might want to skip over this. It's just up to you. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can go about this, okay? And we'll just move on here. So how long to study to pass the DP-900? So if you have 1 year experience with Azure, you're looking at 5 hours of study. If you've passed the AZ-900, you're looking at 10 hours. If you're new to cloud, you're looking at 15 hours of study. For new people, I'm saying 30 minutes a day for 14 days. The course content itself is not very long, but the thing is you have to factor in that you have to do practice exams, and you also just have to put that knowledge into practice by using the console. So even though the course content's not long, there's additional time you have to do there. Where would you take this exam? Well, you can do it in an in-person test center or online from the convenience of your own home. So there are two options. You got PSI and Pearson VUE, and they both actually do in-person and online. And so just so you know, if you ever heard the term proctor, a lot of times we talk about online exams being proctored exams because there's a person or supervisor that's watching you take the exam online, okay? So what does it take to pass this exam? Well, you got to watch the lecture videos. You got to do hands-ons and follow-alongs. And it helps to do paid practice exams that simulate the real exam. This is pretty easy certification. So you could probably get away with not doing any practice exams, but like if you have a lot of experience. But if you're 100% new, definitely go look for some. And if you're looking for a provider, Exam Pro, which is the course provider here, which I make the courses. I have practice exams and additional content that you can use. And it also helps support this, me producing more free courses. So definitely look at that as your first option. In terms of the content outline, the first section is describe the core data concepts, describe how to work with relational data on Azure, describe how to work with non-relational data on Azure, and describe analytics workloads on Azure. So look at the word. It says describe, 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 describe. It does not mean you need to know how to do. And the thing is, in the course, we actually get to do hands-on. So we go beyond where it says describe, and so you'll have a very high chance of passing, okay? In terms of grading, you have to get 700 out of 1,000, so that's 70%, around 70% to pass. We say around because Azure uses scaled scoring like all other certification providers, meaning that it's not always on the dot. So you want to get 75% or higher is your target goal. In terms of response types, you have between 40 to 60 questions. This seems pretty standard for Azure certifications. They really like to keep it in that scope. So that means you can afford to get between 12 to 18 questions wrong. Some questions are worth more than 1 point. There's no penalty for wrong questions, so always try to answer. Some questions cannot be skipped. The format of the questions varies, so you got multiple choice, multiple answer, drag and drop, hot areas, and case studies. Now, usually with fundamental certifications, a lot of times you're just getting these two here, but do not be surprised if you see one of these. But it's generally pretty easy. For the duration, you get 1 hour, so that means you have about 1 minute per question. We put the tilde there because it's going to vary based on the type of question. And the exam time is 60 minutes. And so your seat time is 90 minutes. That means that you should allocate enough time for the exam. So that includes the time to review the instructions, read and accept the NDA, and complete the exam, and provide feedback at the end of the exam. When you do get the certification, it's valid for 24 months. That means you have 2 years before recertification, and that's it. So let's go on to actually opening up the official exam guide to break down the details of this course.